Welcome to the Ignis Sport channel. Ignis 2 has been treated to a clutch. The aircon pump makes it a bit more difficult to take the engine out, a bit more fiddly. The flywheel was a bit heat banded but not scored. The friction material was okay and the springs weren't hammered. Took the opportunity to replace the brake pipe across the bulkhead. The drive shaft was stuck in on one side. I've got to attend to that and get a new joint, maybe a hub, and change the bearing. Radiator's 15 years old. This is probably on its last legs. Took the opportunity to order $250 worth of nuts, bolts and other parts from Megazip whilst the Black Friday sale was on. Don't know what import duty I'm going to be charged on this exactly. Also, the injectors mentioned in another video were cleaned, but they weren't cleaned. I was ripped off, so I sent them to another specialist to be cleaned. They also change all the filters, give you new seals and give you a report. At least they do at a proper specialist. All these injectors are now very well matched. On to Ignis 2 and the engine rebuild for the original engine. The engine reconditioner insisted on getting me engine bearings and got me ones for a different engine. Threw them away, ordered 4 genuine Suzuki ones, another £100. He's polished the crank, he's honed the bores with a flex hone. Nothing special. The original bearings are aluminium. Not too bad, some slight scoring. The mains, also some slight scoring on the bearings and the crank, but well within limits. The engine's getting new big end bearings and new mains. Angular torque and just 25 Newton meters on the outer bolts here. Now Ignis 1 had its engine removed and inspected to see what the horrible tapping noise was, which they suspected a big end bearing, but the big end bearing, 2 of them were okay and within limits visually and by measuring. Now this engine's had a head gasket, possibly by a professional, from what I can guess. Now you can see some telltale signs on a car or an engine. They've attempted to chisel off the timing cover and nearly gone through the oil passages for the main oil feed. And also the timing didn't look spot on to me, so I redid that. Yours ring alarm bells when you see things like this, so I made sure it was done properly. Now the tapping noise, the 21 bolts on the cams, 19 of them were done up with an ugga gun and 2 were left loose and the cam was flapping around. That was the problem. So the donkeys who did this had chased all the inlet valve and exhaust valve clearances and reduced them to nothing, trying to stop the tapping noise. And also I would have had trouble setting the clearances with the cam flapping around. So there you go. I honestly don't think the average person has the numeracy to set these clearances and understand what the hell's going on. These clearances are set in approximately a quarter of a thickness of a paper per increment. So there you go. Who would have thought? So if you're going to work on an engine, make sure the bolts internally are done up and then it will work properly. So the engine's sweet now. All the clearances are fixed. The injectors are good and it runs like a sewing machine. Ta-da.